Get this man some help.
Stop it. Get some help.
A Blazers podcast.
Welcome back to Get This Man Some Help, your daily dose into a fandom conversation between two basketball dads who have too much time on their hands. And Shann, are you familiar with the book Zag by Marty Neumeier?
I'm flattered that you think I might be.
Well, it's a marketing book. I don't know.
Okay, yeah. No.
So the idea is that, where established brands do one thing.
Okay.
Okay. And in this case, established brands like the Memphis Grizzlies or the Denver Nuggets, who are having overall successful seasons. They have made the postseason.
Sure.
Fire their coach.
Yeah.
Now, the zag to that is you extend your coach, Mr. Chauncey Billups, for a multiple-year contract. I know this is the news you've been waiting for.
Yeah.
It's a zag. Maybe it's a genius move.
It's a definite zag. Yeah. I blame the Denver Nuggets, actually.
Uh-huh.
I think what happened is these teams started firing all their great coaches, and the Trailblazers were like, well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Like, hold on. Because there were some rumors that maybe Denver was interested in bringing Chauncey in. And I think the Trailblazers did like your 8-year-old son does. When someone wants something you have, you grab it and you hold it a little closer.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even want this toy, but you want it, so now I want it.
Well, now that you have it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I, after spending the past, 24 hours, absolutely stewing in my own juices, I'm going to shock you.
Okay. Oh, no.
And I'm going to say, I disagree.
Okay.
But I understand.
Okay. All right. This is the zag. Here's my personal zag.
Here's my personal zag.
A personal zag. Marty Neumeier. You and Marty should get on the phone together.
We should. Send me Marty's information. Let's talk. Let's have a chat. I'm going to say, as much as it pains me to say it, I will say a couple of things. One, the Blazers are they're dancing with who brung them. And I do respect that.
Sure.
It's not going to turn into a Golden State situation where we have Mark Jackson, bring the guys in and kind of set them on the right path. And then right as they're starting to come together, we replace them. That's an interpretation of what happened in Golden State.
Sure.
The Blazers are avoiding that. Chauncey was our guy. We put him through his paces. We kind of set him up to fail, and now we're going to...
Can we time out on that for 1 second?
Yeah.
Another interpretation is that Mark Jackson was proselytizing, but go on.
Another interpretation is Mark Jackson is a stone-cold freak. But listen, hey, we all have to be somebody. Like I said, that was an interpretation. I'm not saying that's my interpretation. No. I'm just saying that's an interpretation.
Understood.
And the Blazers, in an era where teams are absolutely shit-canning some of the most talented coaches in the league.
Yeah.
At the worst possible times.
Sure.
The Blazers are saying, you know what? No. We're gonna give Chauncey a real shot with a real team. We're feeling good. We're on the come up.
Yep.
I think that him having that sort of come to Jesus moment where he said, look, if you don't play defense, Shaden, I'm going to bench you. And the only way you're going to get back is if you start learning how to play defense. I think that move right there was probably what got him his extension.
Yep.
So, yeah, I am not happy. I am very displeased. But, I do my 23 minutes of therapy every month. Sure. And I'm trying to find the silver linings, trying to accept, trying to understand. And I will say I understand. I understand why they did it. Did you know, I didn't text you this, but there was, one of the Bleacher Report or ESPN guys was saying that Chauncey might be an outside favorite for Coach of the Year. And after I got done throwing up, I almost texted you, but I got sidetracked. Throwing up again.
Yeah. Okay. That's a very measured adult response, and I'm happy for your personal growth. I am personally thrilled. It doesn't make great content, but I'm happy for your personal growth. Here's the thing that I think,
I should have live streamed my initial reaction.
Sure.
It would have been one of those YouTube videos where the guy eats the tortilla chip that could kill a cow. It looked and sounded a lot like that. A lot of choking. A lot of cursing.
It'd be like a revert, like the hot ones, but you're just like eating emotional hot sauce.
The radio edit would have just been one long boo.
Yeah.
For like 12 minutes. Even Dr. Dan was the one that sent it to me.
Yeah.
Almost threw my phone.
He's like,
I almost threw my phone out the window.
Sure. Which reminds me of my favorite story of Shann, which is where he went into a restaurant and told the owner, "Give me the spiciest thing you can manage." And the owner then sent him to the emergency room.
Well,
right?
It's a Thai food restaurant. Let's be clear. It's a Thai food restaurant in Portland. Portland's greatest resource are Thai food. Right, we have the best Thai food maybe outside of Thailand. It's an amazing scene. But yeah, I was young. I was 20 something. I was trying to impress a girl. I said, "Bring me the hottest thing you got." My people are from Louisiana.
Yeah,
we know hot. Bring me hot. And they didn't want to do it, and I had to argue with the waitress.
You signed a waiver.
And then the old guy, the cook, came out, and he was kind of like, "Nah, you don't want to do this, young fella. You want no part of this. Give me, let's have it." And then about 2 hours later, I'm in the ER with nosebleed, and I almost died. So, yeah.
Okay, so that is. So here's the thing. Did you watch the post interviews with the players? Or
I got some of them.
Yeah. I think for them, in terms of that kind of sentiment of like, stay with the one who brought you, it sort of makes sense to you as a player to be like, we improved overall as a team, record-wise, defense-wise, all these different things. It makes sense that they would reward the coach for that.
Sure.
And I do think that sometimes in the NBA, it's become a little bit of a cliche where you ask a player and they're like, well, it's a business. It's a business. There's no loyalty. It's a business or whatever. But I do think there's sort of like a logic that the players and everybody in the organization can appreciate when it's like, you do a good job, you are rewarded for said job.
Yeah, and listen, I mean, the NBA is a fairly small community, and I can tell you that, like, the Dallas Mavericks are going to have a hard time in the near future because the guys who play are like, well, what the hell?
Yeah.
I don't want to sign on a sinking ship. I don't want to sign for a bunch of people who don't know what they're doing. You know what I mean? Or people who are like disloyal.
Yeah.
Like, it is a business, but it's also people.
Yeah.
And so, I do wonder the sort of long-term implications of a lot of these teams doing these sort of like gut firings of like tenured and respected coaches.
Yeah.
When it comes out that Michael Malone's biggest, sin that he committed was standing up for Russell Westbrook. There's a lot of guys in the league maybe like, oh, okay, you fired him for that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah.
You'll trade Luka. You'll trade the greatest player of his generation. You'll just trade him for nothing because you kind of don't like his off the. Maybe I'll go see what Pat Riley's talking about or whatever.
That's a good point because I think there was a period of time in the NBA where you signed whatever the biggest contract was because you knew there was no such thing as an immovable contract. But now with this collective bargaining, the new deal, like, there is a lot of stickiness, and it's harder and harder to make deals. So you sign with a team, you might be stuck with the team, Jerami Grant.
Jeremy.
Yeah. So I think going through, I was listening to a lot of the post game interviews. I didn't get through them all, but everybody, when they asked about, every player they asked about Chauncey's extension seemed legitimately happy and legitimately thrilled for the guy. Yeah. And so we've said this all along. I mean, the problems that we have with Chauncey, at least, okay, I'll speak for myself. The problems I have with Chauncey are executional, and it's in-game management stuff. Yeah. And it's, you see him on the sideline and he's not exactly always communicating with the players. He's yucking it up with the other team's best player. He's doing all these things where you're just like, this is a chance, it's an opportunity, and you're letting it pass away. He burns his referee challenges in like the first 5 minutes of a game. It's just stuff that just doesn't make sense. Yeah. I will say he's getting a little better at that. But the one thing that we've always loved about him is that the players really, really seem to care and really, really seem to play hard for him.
He is very well regarded.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's a league-wide thing. I think there are a lot of people in the league who really like him as a person. And I think, again, it's a people business. So that can, take you far. And, and listen, I mean, the team was a legitimate top 10 defensive team to shut the season down.
Yeah.
I mean, this is true. Like I said, that thing where he said, look, I'm just going to bench you. Yeah. If you don't do the defensive stuff, it worked. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that, the thing is, I just don't, what I don't want to see is us starting the next season with Jerami Grant playing 42 minutes a game.
Yeah.
And sort of undoing the work, the sort of magic that happened at the tail end of this season being undone. Because that's what happened last year. Like between last year and the start of this season, a lot of that, like Shaden's doing 30 points a game, blah, blah, blah. A lot of that was sort of undone. And we kind of went back to the, status quo. But yeah, we'll see. Like I said, I'm in an accepting phase. I've sort of I'm still deeply, deeply hot.
You're just in a better place than I thought you'd be. This is like when I check in after after a basketball game and you had a fall, and it's like, are you going to be okay? That looked hard, and then the next day you're bopping around. I don't know what's going on.
No, there is a deep. It is 15 degrees hotter in this room than in any other room in the house right now. I am still very much upset, but I am.
Yeah. So I think that's a really good point you bring up, which is Chauncey is competitive minute to minute, and maybe not necessarily able to see how he can be competitive year to year. Where how can I develop the next step in this team as a whole? And the funny thing is that I do think players enjoy that. They like to win games. I mean, that sounds silly. Yeah. They like to win games. And Chauncey's gonna, if he thinks Jerami Grant playing 42 minutes is going to have a better shot of winning today. We're not talking about next month, but today that's what he's going to do it, and players appreciate that. In Deni's post season interview, he said that Chauncey unlocked stuff that he didn't even know he had. And when you look at the season that Deni Avdija had, you're like, well, if that's the case, that's pretty. I mean, that right there is a huge endorsement. And then I loved how Ayton was like, he's a coach that tells me exactly. The way he put it is he hits the nail on the head. He's just like, I'm just going to tell you what's wrong. And I love it because I just feel like if there's one player who I would assume would take that the worst would be Ayton, but apparently he likes it. So
yeah, and that's a skill. I mean, to be able to communicate with some of your players who who need maybe a little.
Yeah, coddling.
Yeah. So that's
Tender
fine. Like I said, and at the end of the day, and I try to extend this caveat every time we do this. I mean, Chauncey Billups is a Hall of Fame NBA player. So I mean, he knows more than I do. He knows more than us, but more than I do.
The reason we're having this conversation
is
not because we know basketball.
No.
So we're fans, and we care about
from
this
a fan standpoint.
Yeah, to an unhealthy degree, we care about this stuff because it's fun and it's a diversion, and it's sometimes the only good thing in my day. And I want it to be good, I want it to be better. So, speaking of Jerami Grant, we touched on him a little bit in the past. He came to the post game, just immaculate fit, Sergeant Pepper Lonely Band coat, just beautiful, sartorial, just whatever you want to say about him. He's a fashionable man. And they asked him like, "Are you going to be here next year?" And he was basically like, I like the direction we're going, but that's a conversation we're going to have. And basically so much as said, like, my bags are packed.
Yes.
The home's on the market.
The house is up for sale.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I would maybe be more mad if Jerami Grant started the season on the roster than I am about the Chauncey extension.
Okay. Yeah.
Let me just, and this is nothing personal against Jerami Grant.
Yeah, he's been great.
He's a great player. He's been a great teammate. He's been a great, good for the city. He does his charity stuff. He's just a good, decent dude.
Yeah.
Full stop. But I mean, this team has sort of moved on, and it needs to move on. You know what I mean? He changes the whole vibe of the team when he's playing.
Yeah.
And like I said, I just think the time for him to come. Or the time for him to go has come.
It'd be better for both of them.
It'd be good. Put him in a position for a team that's not in a rebuilding phase. Get him on a team that might, actually do something in the playoffs, and he would be an asset. Like I said, he's a hell of a player. But I just like I said, I keep coming back to this like for years. Oh, our guards are going to be O'Shea, and no, we have a front court now.
Yeah,
we have a Toumani, Deni, Kling front court, and those guys need to play.
Yeah,
and Jerami,
and there's so many teams that need him because he is a guy who can get you a bucket when everything's gummed up. It's the end of the game. The
100%.
Rockets, they would love a guy like that.
Oh yeah,
I mean, they would love a guy like that.
Yeah, there's not a lot of teams who wouldn't. Like you look at any of the teams in the playoffs right now, any of those teams who wouldn't benefit by having Jerami Grant on the roster.
Yeah, right. And I mean, if he goes to some place with a big spotlight, I mean, come on, the fit, the runway walk, the whole thing.
Oh yeah.
I had this.
He needs to be in LA or New York.
Yeah. When we were watching,
Miami, I guess he could do that.
Yeah. Did you watch the LA game, the last game? Just a horrible experience. But I mean, it was fine. We won, but I mean, in terms of basketball quality, like you could tell, like we don't have our offensive guys. Like this is kind of ugly. But the amount of attention that Bronny gets, I mean, literally for starting a game, is kind of crazy. And I do think when you're a player, you're like, okay, so these people are getting this kind of attention there.
Yeah.
Whereas I was thinking, like, if you took Delano Banton's stat line from this season,
sure,
everybody knows probably, and I don't think there's anybody in the league who's like, Delano is going to end up being somebody we talk about in 20 years, right? Like he is what he is. He's a great player. He's a good player. He's a good piece, but he's not going to be like some transcendental. Maybe he'll be a transcendental. Maybe he'll get there. I don't know. But if you gave his stat line to somebody like Bronny or Dalton Knecht,
that's all you hear about.
People would be going nuts.
That's all you'd hear about. I mean, it's all you hear about now.
Yeah.
Just none of the stat lines. Yeah. The whole Bronny thing. I saw an interesting take that, what Bronny needs to do, which I guess would be the best for him and the team and the rest of us, is just to sort of like lean into the villainy part, like just become a super villain. You know what I mean? Like just become, bitch, LeBron is my dad. So what?
Well, isn't that what LeBron did the first year in Miami?
Yeah, I mean, to kind of embrace the sort of villain LeBron role and just be like, I'm what do they call that? When in Hollywood, the kids who
heel turn.
Well, no, the nepo baby. Yeah, I'm a nepo baby, but can you beat me? You know what I mean? And just really lean into it. Really become.
Well, I mean, LeBron touched the void, and I feel like he almost didn't come back from it. Like it was an emotional toll for him.
Yeah, because I just don't think what needs to happen is they need to send this kid for a year-long internship with Chris Paul.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Who has firmly embraced the villain role and just thrives in it.
Yeah,
and he needs to spend a year with Uncle Chris and just learn how to
get him out of the spotlight.
Yeah, but just learn all not only to just be like, I'm an, but like to do all the like, your jersey's untucked, that's a technical foul, like do all that, like the full roster of that. Just become the biggest heel in the NBA.
Yeah. He's the equivalent of the pitcher who's like has like a Vaseline under his armpit.
100%.
He's just
the Phil Necro of the NBA. That's what I want. That's what I want to be. Chris
Paul,
by the way, started. I read that Chris Paul started 82 games this year.
Sure,
at 40 years old.
He's vegan.
I mean,
what do you? He's vegan. He's vegan. He's gonna be fine.
I mean,
He'll be playing till he's 50.
Is bulletproof.
He's bulletproof. He's on the Tom Brady
all
diet.
82 games.
Him and Tom hang out and they trade recipes for couscous and chickpeas, and they're fine. Guess.
Listen, Matisse needs to get on that bandwagon, get his health back.
Whatever you think Matisse needs to do, he doesn't need to do it because he looks great. He is glowing. Watching that game,
skin routine, the skin regimen. Out of all we talked a lot about like NBA players having their own clothing lines, and like everyone's got like Moses Brown had his own clothing line. Listen, Matisse Thybulle comes up with like a men's skincare routine. I'm in. I'll pre-order. I'm ready to go.
I will ruin my life and 100%. Become an MLM.
Yeah,
just 100%. To pitch. Matisse's skincare.
Be on a street corner outside the Whole Foods.
I mean, listen, I can get you in right now if you buy 3 boxes.
That's exactly right.
But if you buy 5,
well.
That's a gold club membership.
Now, hey.
So, so Matisse in that last game, just the joy with which he was playing.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I love about the Blazers is that they are so happy for each other.
Yeah.
And it starts with Scoot, but it's also like Donovan made, the funny thing about Donovan is he's like 7'11".
Yeah.
And every time he dunks, I'm like, is that going to get over the rim?
Yeah.
I love him so much. And he had this dunk, and Matisse was so happy for him.
Yeah.
And you love to see it.
You love to see it. I'll tell you that I did get a little bit, because listen, we've got Jerami Grant, and Anfernee, and DeAndre, Robert Williams, and Matisse Thybulle, and I feel like I'm leaving someone out. But anyway, so that it's almost like that last scene from that movie, The Sandlot.
Yeah,
where their pictures sort of disappear off the field. It's like there was a day that was the last day you played outside with your friends, kind of situation.
Yeah,
and I was kind of watching it and being like, oh man, like a lot of these guys they're so happy, but a lot of them are just not going to be here anymore. That's a little sad. That's a little sad.
Sean, there is a last day that you played with your friends, but I feel like this podcast with you is me playing with my friends in the
exactly, and it's going to go on forever,
and it's going to never stop, because we obviously don't do it for the money.
We obviously don't do it for the money. That's true.
Okay. Here's the thing. Robert Williams, comes in, immaculate white beanie.
Yeah.
What do you think his beanie storage situation? How does he store these things? Is it just in a drawer? Russell Westbrook famously only wears something once and then donates it.
Yeah.
how fast is the churn in the beanie selection?
Robert Williams just has like a warehouse of beanies, like
Yeah.
this, I can see it kind of being like Batman. Like you press the thing, the hidden panel flips around, and there's just like the beanies laid up on like racks and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love it if the agent was like, Robert, we got this great opportunity. You can sign with this contender. It's your dream situation. He's like, I just got the beanie wall installed.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to take that position.
Right.
So
I got to keep me. I'll resign.
So they're going through all the players one after the next. I thought it'd be really funny is if they're like, okay, we got Toumani next. And the screen just cuts to black like a horror movie. And then it comes back and the room's empty. And Toumani's like, any more questions? And then gets up and leaves. It was just great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
Like his exit interview was him like slowly like going back into the TV he popped out of at the beginning of the season, like The Ring. I would buy it. I would buy it.
So the best part about the Toumani interview was I was right, and I love being right because we all know Toumani's not getting Defensive Player of the Year. Everybody who is a logical person knows this is not the case, but the Blazers create this intricate campaign, and they ask him about it in the interview, and he has this huge smile. I mean, he broke the lens in my computer. I have to go take it to AppleCare now because it's so bright, and I'm just like, that is why you do those things. Yeah. And for a long time, I never understood it, and I was like, why are they doing this? But that is why you do it because it's a relationship.
Yeah, because yes, and they are, because listen, there is going to come a time in the not too distant future where they are going to have to back up a dump truck full of money to Toumani's house, and so I think that they are doing whatever they can to kind of like, you're our guy, don't bankrupt us. Like you're our guy, we love you. Please don't bankrupt us because you could bankrupt us. Like you could do it if you. But
remember the waffles.
Yeah, remember the waffles. Just remember the waffles, man. We love you.
Do you think that there's a media member, Zach Lowe or something, who's he's doing that thing where you have in your cabinet and you're taking out everything that's expired, and he gets to the Toumani Camara waffle mix and he looks at it and he's like, honey, I think we should make waffles today.
Sure.
And then this is like a couple years down the road.
And then regrets.
And his ballot comes, he opens it, he's like, I think I'm going to vote Toumani.
Yeah.
Those were some pretty good waffles. And then Jack Handy's voice comes on.
Yeah, I would actually be very curious to know, like to see the amount of stuff those guys get over the course of a year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just the kind of like just weird team PR stuff.
Yeah.
Because I'd imagine they do that kind of thing. Like they have like a cabinet or whatever, like just they're sort of constantly like throwing away nonsense.
Well, who was it? Was it Terry Stotts who did a garage sale? Yeah. Or no, it was a former player. It was Terry Porter maybe.
Maybe so.
And he did a garage sale and the line was like around the block and they were just selling like all of Terry's old stuff, Yeah,
it's got to go somewhere, Might as well
there's do you remember back in the Drexler days, they did a Trailblazers cookbook?
Oh yeah.
And do you remember what Clyde's recipe was?
No.
You make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and then you smush it with your hand.
With your hand.
You just smush it into the table.
Yeah.
That was his recipe. And I remember watching this as a kid because it was like featured on one of the like KGW or something. And even as a kid, I was like, really? Is that the... And like the announcer was like, great recipe, Clyde. Like, so what I guess this is a long way of saying is, do you think Terry had that recipe book in the garage sale? Because I would have loved to have it.
He probably had like 24 copies.
Yeah.
That would
signed
be
like your peanut butter to your jelly, Terry.
Yeah.
From Clyde.
Yeah.
I love it.
No, I think that's probably the case.
So the other thing I thought was interesting, because I was really sort of listening for hidden clues in the Grant interview and then also Simons, right? Because that's the other player who might, he's at a point where it's like you either fit in and be comfortable with a spot that's just, you sort of acknowledge.
Right.
Hey, my ceiling isn't an all-star level star and I'm going to fit in with the system, or, you move on. And he was a lot more committed in his response, if you saw it, than Grant in terms of how he fit in. But the interesting thing to me was that he said that in his first 6 years in the league, he was used to playing with this half court offense, which is what you get when you have Damian Lillard, who's
Right.
an absolute assassin in set pieces,
Right.
and totally breaks defensive schemes.
Right.
And he was saying, this year you get the ball, you go, and it took him a while to get there, which was exactly what we saw mirrored.
Yeah.
And so it'll be interesting to see what he wants, after this.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think Anfernee wants to be the guy.
Yeah.
Right. And I understand.
Does
why.
he though? That's what
I think he does.
Yeah.
I think he still thinks that he's sort of like he inherited the team from Damian, and he's the elder statesman on the team, and blah 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 blah. And the Blazers are in this weird position where they've got Scoot and they've got Shaden, but neither one of them has really consistently been able to, and the thing is, I'm still a firm believer in Scoot. I think he's going to be fine. But with Shaden, I am now starting to be like, what's the ceiling going to be like for him? Like, maybe the ceiling is not going to be as high as we thought it was going to be. Or I should say, he may never become like a consistent player. You know what I mean? Like, there's some guys in the NBA, and I'm not saying like J.R. Smith, but like, but guys who, will kind of go pop,
yeah.
And that's not. It's hard to be a superstar and be streaky like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. The Blazers are in a position where, they have Anfernee. He clearly wants to be a Blazer.
Yeah.
He clearly wants to be the guy on the team. I'm not sure. He definitely. It seems like he definitely towards the last half of the season fit better. I think he also responded to the "we got to play defense" call. His defense has been more than serviceable. Yeah. Especially compared to where he was a couple years ago. Yeah. But yeah, like on this team right now, I think for the team to be its most effective as it sits, Deni's the one that's going to kind of drive the offense, so Anfernee kind of got to let go of the control, basically. And so, yeah, it's interesting because if he's on maybe the best contract in the league right now in terms of bang for your buck. I think he's making $15 million or something. What's a lot?
Maybe not. His teammate might have the title for that. Deni. His contract.
Well,
crazy.
Deni, yeah, that's true. Yeah. But he's on a very friendly contract. Yeah. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see, are they going to hedge their bets, and also what are they going to do draft night? Are they looking for another guard? Because if they get another guard, then maybe that means Anfernee will move on. But yeah, it's an interesting thing. And again, he's only 26, 25, 26.
Yeah. He's still Benjamin Button. I'm convinced he ages backwards. Every time they mention his age, I'm like, that's like 3 years younger than I thought it was.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not like he's sort of out of the window in terms of age for this group. So yeah, I'm very curious to see what's going to happen with him, whether they're going to keep him in the fold and kind of make it work, or it's that's a very interesting situation.
Yeah, and Chauncey, he said Ant competed, and that's all he wants. And it's a low bar, but it's actually not. No. For anybody who's played sports, it's really hard to stay engaged and competing at all points in the court, especially when you are such a savant offensively. And I think he literally has a record, right, for most, tied for most 3-pointers in a quarter or something.
Yeah, I think so. So.
He's done historic stuff, so it's encouraging to see that. But I think you're right. You don't know what's going to happen in the draft. And I don't think the Blazers are at a place with anybody yet that they wouldn't pick the best player regardless of position, right? I think they're still at the point where it's if you have a pick and the player available is so much better than everybody else around, but the position's redundant, you still make the pick. Yeah. I guess the thing that's interesting to me with Shaden, I don't know that I know that he was inconsistent with his 3-point shot. I know he was up and down in his defensive play. But the thing that I was really encouraged by from him this year is that he was sort of brave enough to make mistakes. He was getting into the muck in the mid range and going aggressively to the hoop. Whereas you remember a few years ago, we were how can Anfernee Simons be a dunk champion but never dunk?
Never even try. Never even try.
Put the ball on the floor. He does get in there and he does muck it up, which is a little bit of a leap for him because he can fall in love with the fadeaway and all that stuff.
Well, no, he's always gonna. He'll always be an NBA player as long as he wants to be. There's no, I'm not questioning his talent, but is he going to be the guy? You know what I mean? Is he going to be the franchise guy, or is he going to be kind of one of the other pieces? Yeah. And I'm not. I don't know. I'm I'm a little less confident in his all-star turn now than I was 18 months ago, let's say.
Yeah. Fair. Well,
but I'm also, I mean, I'm 100% sure Deni Avdija is going to turn into an all-star the way he's been playing. Like, if he can keep that pace going. I mean, those were all-star numbers.
Yeah.
In the last, 3 months, 4 months of the season.
Well, everything we liked about Josh Hart when he played for us, that he was constantly going, constantly creating chaos, constantly, competing on defense. Every time he got the ball, there was a potential for it's all there with Deni, except it's elevated to the point where he can shoot threes. He has a little bit of the,
he's a more consistent three. He's a much better finisher than Josh Hart. And I love Josh Hart to death. I love Josh Hart.
Oh no, I know. I'm not. This is not down on Josh Hart. I'm just saying, like, we got Josh Hart that was like bitten by the Spider-Man spider.
Yeah, that's right.
And did you see that? They did that thing where they like check in with him. He's on the sideline in like just an immaculate white sweatsuit.
Sure.
And let's talk to him during the game. And he talked about how in Europe he was a post-up player. He would post up a lot. And that's something he hasn't really been able to do in the NBA. So it's like, okay, wow, there's like there's a few more gears he can get to, which is really exciting. And yeah, I think he will be an all-star in the future. And I guess it's, we know where our draft position is now. The Phoenix Suns really gave a run for the money.
Listen,
the money.
As bad as it might be to be a Blazers fan, you could be a Suns fan.
Woof.
Let me tell you.
Woof.
Yike. Singular yike.
Yeah. Yeah. And as Toumani rises, the sun sets. There we go. So we have, I think there's some convoluted way it works because we tied with the Suns for the same record. Mm-hmm. So I think there's some sort of drawing where we decide which of us gets the leftover lottery odds, blah, blah, blah. But right now, we're in the 9th position. Mm-hmm. And so it's going to be exciting to kind of go forward, figure out who we're going to draft, start having very strong opinions that we will.
I've already got them. I'm not going to give them to you now, but I've got many
teaser. That's what we call
opinions. A teaser. Many strong opinions.
Strong opinions that we will no doubt abandon immediately. And forget.
Which one of you young fellas is Chauncey going to ruin this season?
Oh my God.
Oh,
it's so exciting. You remember how excited we were? Everybody just losing their mind over Dalton Connect.
He had one of the greatest first months of any rookie not named like LeBron. I thought, oh my God, this guy is going to turn like day one.
Yeah.
And you don't. The trade thing, I think, really, broke him a little bit. Because he was a part of the Mark Williams trade that didn't go through.
Yeah, no, that's tough. I mean, the funny thing is that, we think of it's been said a lot, but like, there's like this is their job, this is their thing, and like if you go to work and there's a coworker you don't like, it's harder to do your job. Yeah. If your boss might fire you, it's tougher to do your job.
Yeah,
makes sense. Do you remember what is it, Michael Kidd Williams?
Oh yeah,
and
Michael Kidd Gilchrist.
No, the other guy.
Michael Carter Williams.
I thought it was Kidd Williams. Is it Carter Williams? Okay, yeah. And he was Rookie of the Year, right? Like,
that's right.
I think he was. And I remember, this is back when Twitter was a nascent being,
mm-hmm.
and I had one of my worst tweets ever where I was like, "Oh, I can't believe we."
Yeah.
He was balling. It's funny how sometimes there's those rookies that spike and then you never hear from them again.
Yeah. Well, a lot of it, a lot of it is the mental game.
Yeah.
A lot of it, and it's hard. It's hard to to keep that mindset. For 82 games for X amount of years. And I was listening to an article, the interview with Lou Williams.
Yeah.
Lemon Pepper Lou. And he was like, it's like at a certain point, I was just like, I need to take a couple of years off. Like I just mentally, I need to be able to like go to the grocery store and like take my kids to school and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And like in his mind, he was just going to take a year off and come right back. And then he took the year off. Like, that's not the way any of this works. No, I am done.
I'm good. Okay.
I am cooked.
I mean, there's like, it's just, it's important to remember that because it is a long arc. I mean, Tyreek Evans was like a going concern. It was like a big deal.
I still don't know what happened to Tyreek Evans.
Yeah.
I thought for sure Tyreek Evans was going to be like a Hall of Fame player.
Yeah.
Whoa, what happened to that guy?
You can't stay in front of him. It's crazy.
Yeah, he was tough.
Yeah.
Also, shout out. I don't want to let this season end without saying that one of the things I'm very excited about for next season, Rian Rupert.
Oh, yeah.
G League legend.
Uh-huh.
Who really, is showing his stuff.
Yeah. He even dribbled with his left hand.
Well,
He did it. I saw it.
Growth.
What do you think about I know we should leave, but
Yeah.
what do you think about City?
Oh, I love that guy. Yeah. I want more City.
I
Don't
love
let that
the
guy
fact-
go.
I love the fact that they were in game, like trash talking that he couldn't dunk.
Yeah.
And then he barely dunked, and he was like, "See," but he was like really good humored about it. It was great.
Yes. Well, because he looks like Daryl Dawkins. Like he looks like a guy who should be jumping out of the gym,
Yeah.
but he gets on the court and he plays. He plays like my uncle.
Yeah.
He's not. But his passing is flawless.
I love the passing. The passing is so cheeky. It's not like there's like Ben Simmons had these crazy wraparound,
Yeah.
power. He does these little cheeky little drop offs, and
Yeah.
it's like, hey, I would love to play with you.
Oh, 100%.
I would fumble the ball 9 times out of
City,
10.
you're welcome at our Thursday game anytime.
Come
you
on
want,
through,
pal.
City.
Come on through. Great fit.
Kendrick Lamar's been there.
Well, listen.
That's a true story that we'll tell later.
That's a story for another time.
That's a
Yes.
real tease.
That's a real tease. Yeah, the Kendrick Lamar, the tale of Kendrick Lamar, our close personal friend Kendrick Lamar.
Well,
I maybe
okay,
oversold
so
that a little bit. Maybe oversold that a little.
special thanks to Puma Distortion for the noises. If you're liking Puma Distortion, go over to bandcamp.com, type in Puma Distortion, and you'll just be hit with all kinds of funky beats, wild sounds. Lovely person too.
Okay. Are we
All right,
doing
I'll
him
see
a
you
favor
later.
with that, or are we hurting
What?
his brand? Is that a good thing we're doing for him?
I thought that was a nice
Hey
thing.
guys.
Hey
Hello,
guys.
fellow kids.
Hello,
Do you
fellow
like-
children.
Cool music.
Yeah. Do you like
Do you
the
like
tunes?
sick beats?
I'm gonna get an angry text from him. What,
No.
what is
That's
wrong
the
with you?
Distortion. It's good music. Check it out.
We love it.
Get this man some help.
Stop it. Get some help.
A Blazers podcast.